on how to do a check for learning test, we're going to go through setting up student groups, and then setting up tests, and then assigning that test, as well as finally, then we're going to go through and review the data of that test on how to do that. So if you don't already have it, let's get it bookmarked. DRC edirect. Enter. You can do a quick Google search, and it should be your first one. I went ahead and put it in my bookmarks. You hit the favorite right here, the bookmarks. You can name it whatever you want. I just kept it DRC edirect. That way I can click on it whenever I want. Or you can just do check for learning or C4L. That way it's easy to correspond with what you know it's going to do for you. You get to this page, what you need to do is you need to hit log on. You'll type in your email address and your password. I make sure it's saved there, so all I have to do all the time is click log on. Now these right here, you're not going to worry about these. The only thing you're going to worry about is clicking this check for learning right over here on the left side. So you're going to click that there. And it's going to bring up this choose profile. From my experience, and I could be wrong, but 2014, 2015 check for learning teacher, I don't believe I can do anything except for look at the data there. Look at old tests or old scores. I'm not even sure I can do that. But you want to click the 2015, 2016 check for learning teacher. If you don't have that at all, don't even worry about that. So this will bring you to the home screen now. And this is where all your actions of taking the test and creating your student groups are going to take place. So if by chance you get into somewhere where you're confused, you can open this menu right here, and it has all the same things that you would on this home screen right here. But we'll go through that in a second. So to start off with, we need to have our students to test. We need to have them in a group. So we're going to go ahead and click up here on student testing. Give that a fine click, and you won't have any of this, I don't believe. These are all the tests that I've created. Well, some of them. So what we're going to do is we need to create basically your class, which your class is called a student group. So you're going to click on the second tab here, student groups, and then we need to go up here to our actions. What this is going to do is this is going to allow us to create another student group. Okay, so we're going to click student group here so we can add all of our students in. So I'm going to name this 7th grade math. All right, and then we can click whichever grade we want to click here. This will correspond kind of what the standards are, but at least you know which. I lied. This is going to correspond to the students it's going to bring up. So I click grade 7. I'm going to hit save. And all of a sudden you see I have no students here. So we want to click add students. We'll click there. And here are all my 7th grade students. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all, except Cage is no longer here, so we're going to unselect him. And we're going to just double check that we have them all. And we're going to double check right over here to make sure they're checked. They are. So what we're going to do is click done up here in the top right corner. And you have now just created your whatever grade you have or your testing group. Okay. You can copy the student group. For example, if you're an elementary teacher and you'd like to teach or to use the same group for science, and then math and so forth, reading, and then language, you can do copy the student group. You can also delete the student group. Say you made an error or something like that and you just want to completely start over. You can hit delete your student group. You can also edit students. Say you have a student leave or a student come in. You can click edit, and that'll bring you right back to the page that we just did. Say, for example, Paul Vanderwall left. We can click this minus sign and he's gone and he's out of that group. I'm going to go ahead and add him back in because I am actually going to use this. Set up my 7th grade math. Okay, so we have our student group set up. That was pretty easy. If you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or email, and I can help you through it. Julie Rankin's good at it too, and Sarah Pinky's good at it, and whoever else, whoever your go-to person is. So now we've set up our student group, and you can see right here my 7th grade math pops up right here. It shows you the grade and it shows you the number of students. So I have 9. So what I need to do now is I need to set up a test. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, go back to home, and I'm going to go to test. And once again, these are tests I've already pre-made, so yours might very well be blank. So what the first thing we're going to do is to set up our test is we're going to go up here to actions. This is pretty much what's going to allow you to do everything you want to do. And you're just going to click on new test. I'm going to name this test 7th grade fractions. Okay, so I'm going to name this so it shows me that it's the 7th grade and it's going to be fractions. What you can do is you can also name the test a certain standard or whatever naming that you best come up with. You'll have to be a little creative there. Whatever naming is best for you. And this is going to be a mathematics test. So you'll click on mathematics, and then whatever grades, we're going to click the same grade, 7th grade. And then don't worry about any of this here, or don't show the score page. You can play with that later if you want, but don't do any of this stuff here. So I'm going to click save. And it says no items have been added to the test. Up here we have the name of our test, the grade, the subject, and the year it's created. That'll come in handy in a couple years, I believe. So the test items, we have no items here. We want to go ahead and add items. So we're going to click on this tab here to where it's add items. Now, I always do show the advanced filter because I like to come in here and start right here. You can search through using these two. You can type in right here and identify or a focus or alignment 12.1 point whatever. But I like to just go through and do exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and mathematics, and I'm going to go ahead and hit 7th grade. That's the grade I'm after. And I want either number sense, geometric concepts, algebraic concepts, or data analysis and problem. Whatever you decide to go here. If you are a language person or reading, I'll click that and I'll show you it works the same way. 7th grade, and then the language arts right here for the standards, and then here are your benchmark, vocabulary and comprehension, and then whatever indicator you would like to click here. So it corresponds to, for example, 8.3.4.A or so forth. So I'm going to go back to math. I'm going to go to 7th grade again. Sorry for all of my clicking and fast movements. I'm going to go to number sense. I'm just going to make a test. I'll delete it here later. Benchmark, we're going to go with number system. And the indicators, we're going to go with equivalence, compare and order, scientific notation. We're going to do scientific notation. Okay? And then I'm going to hit search, and it's going to come up with all of the indicators or all of the questions that are aligned to the standard math 7.1.1.c. Okay? Now what's nice is it has the difficulty as well as the depth of knowledge. Now in your table of specs, it's going to have the depth of knowledge that you need to test to or to teach to basically. So depth of knowledge 1 is just basically identification. A depth of knowledge 2 is like applying, and our depth of knowledge 3 is doing multiple things with that. The state test, I believe, doesn't have any depth of knowledge 3. That's what I don't quote me on that. So now to add to our test, all we're going to do is we're just going to click on the indicator. All right. Well, it says it's hard, and I want this one to be fairly hard. So I'm going to click a couple hard. Oh, let me step back for a second. It has the item text. What is 257,000 written inside? I don't know. I can't tell what that is. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to hit this magnifying glass, and it's going to show me the whole question. Okay, and this is exactly how the student is going to read it, minus the circle filled in. These questions are written by teachers and then reviewed by other teachers. And being a part of that process, I will tell you all of these questions are not 100% correct. So definitely look through and make sure the test that you're given is exactly what you want. I've done that a couple of times with some questions that had the incorrect answer and so forth. So you just delete those out and whatever. So I like this question. I'm going to go ahead and add it to my test. I'm going to check this question out as well. I'm going to read through it. I like this question as well. I'm going to add it to my test. And all you do to add is you just click on it, and that's it. It's already added. It does everything for you. Now down here it says there are 23 items, and it says there's also another page. So I'm going to go click on page 2 and see what's over there. Oh, I like a medium question. You're going to make fun of me for that. I'm going to look at that question, and I like that question as well. So I'm going to click on that and keep that question. Okay. I'm going to add one more just to make it an even 5. Now what we do, now that you've added your items, we can go back here to test items, and it shows you that I guess I only added 4. That shows you that you have 4 questions in your test. Now I'm just gonna shuffle them. Yeah, this is actually a new feature. I haven't seen this before. If you care about the order of your test, feel free to change your order. If not, the questions are all just going to be the way you click them. We're going to click Done. And you have created a test of 4 questions. And you can see right here the difficulty, medium, hard, easy, and medium. So my students should be able to get this pretty well. What we're going to do next is we're going to look at this Actions button. If you would like to take a look at the test before you give it, you can go ahead down here and click Preview Test. And it's going to show up exactly as the student's test would show up. And it's exactly the same as the NISA, how it's written and how it looks. Looking through here, I like it. It looks good. Okay, that's what I want. Hitting the standards I want to hit. And you can do multiple standards as well, and I'll show you how to do that maybe in a different video. I'm going to click Actions one more time just to show you what other things you can do with it. If you don't like the items, you can edit items, and you can go back and you can just remove it from the item list by doing this right here. If you play with it a little bit, it's a pretty easy process to get down. But feel free to ask questions for sure. I like this test. I'm going to click Done. And then I'm going to go ahead and click Back to Test. Everything is set up the way that I want. Okay. And as you can see, amongst this, I will have the test is right up here, 7th grade fractions. All right. So I'll go back to home. Now is where things get just a little bit tricky, but nothing you can't handle. We're going to go back into student testing. Now that we've set up the test, we're going to assign that test. So we're going to go back into student testing, and we're going to go up here and click Actions, and we're going to hit New Test Session. And that's what allows you to assign the test. And once again, it's going to bring up the test session and whatnot. So I'm going to name it 7th grade fractions. Now, the way my system works, obviously it's kind of up and down, but I change it often. I've recently gone to naming the test session the exact same thing as I've named my test. If you find a better way, feel free to show me or tell me how you do it. The begin date, January 14th, I'm going to have it begin today. And the end date, once again, this is your call. I know Miss Pinky likes to go ahead and put hers all the way over here to April in case she wants to use it again, or a kid is sick or some sort, whatever happens. It's easier to do a longer test period versus a shorter test period. Just take our word for that one. I'm going to hit save. Okay. Now it brings up here and it's going to ask you basically, well, what test do you want to assign? I want to assign 7th grade fractions. And I believe Nope, you can only assign one. So 7th grade fractions. And I'm going to go up here to this next and click that. If, for example, or if you have so many tests, and you'll probably get around to that, if you have so many tests, you can filter by 7th grade and math, and I'm going to search it, and it comes up with just these two right here. And so if you need that, that tool is there, or the test name. You can do that as well. So after you click the test that you want, we're going to click next. And it's going to give you a false sense right here. What you're going to do is you're actually going to add a student group. And you're going to add whichever group you want it to correspond with. I want it to correspond with my 7th grade math. And then I'm going to go up here and click done. Okay. Now you see the test is down here. The status is not published. This is actually important because we haven't allowed it to start yet. And it says 0 of 9 students have completed it. All this information up here is all the stuff that you've clicked already. We need to go up here before we can actually get kids to take the test. We need to generate tickets. What that does is that allows the code for the test to go out to each student so they can take the test. Okay, if you don't generate tickets, they won't be able to take the test. So you have to generate the ticket. So we're going to click generate tickets. It's going to wait just a second. It's going to correspond, and now all of the students in 7th grade math should be able to take this test. So I'm going to go up here one more time. You ask, well, how do they take this test? Well, to sign into their Check for Learning, they're going to go to the DRC Insight Online Assessments. This is not the right one, but they're going to go to that one. They're going to hit Check for Learning. And then it's going to give them a username and a password. And this right here, you click on print tickets. Now you don't actually have to print them. It's going to give you a PDF. Wherever it goes, my Google Drive, my Google Chrome, it pops right down here. Yours might. Wherever your download section goes, that's where it'll be. So I'm going to click on it. And it's going to give me the names of my students. You don't need this at all for what we're doing. But it's also going to give you the username and password. Now I'm going to zoom into that just a little bit. What I'll do, and obviously use your best judgment, what I'll do is I'll just put this on the projector so the students know that, hey, I'm rburger1 and my password is sank, 7673, and they'll sign in and they'll take the test. So that's what I do. I like to keep it out there. If you feel a little more private about it, you can print it off and cut it out, or you can, whatever you choose to do. That's how that works. That's the generating the ticket. That's what's going to get them started on the test. Okay. So now students are ready to take the test. What you'll do is you'll give them the time to take it. What we need to do now is go back after, let's say, the students are done with the test. I'm going to go back to the home screen. And you want to see the results after all the students are done taking the test. The great thing about this is you can see the results as soon as one student is done. And you can be looking at those results while all the other students are taking the test. And if another student gets done, say you have 2 done, it'll pop up that data as well. That's where our reports comes into play. Okay, now we're going to go to a test session detailed reporting. You can do all this, you can play with it. This is where I found the best is test session detailed reporting. And what I want to do, I want to click on the test that I gave and I want to check over. So I'm just going to click 7th grade adaptations here because I know my students have completed this one. And what I'm going to do is after I click on that, I'm going to go up here to actions, and it's going to give me the alignment report, the item performance report, the score report, and the score distribution report. What I like to do is I like to hit score report right away. You can get through all these here in a second, I'll show you, but I like to hit score report, And what it does is it shows me the average score, which on this test is a 71%. The high score is 100, the low score is a 40, and 9 of 9 are completed with this test. And it's really neat because I can scroll along here and I can grab, or not grab, but I can just hover over each dot and it shows me what each kid got correct. So Paul Vanderwall got a 60% and so forth. And I can see where all the students lie. And then I can scroll down here and I can see the question. So question number 1, it is in red. So that means that is incorrect. If you got a number 1, that means it is correct. So everybody except for Molly got number 1 incorrect. And as you can see, everybody except for Neely got number 2 correct, which is really neat to see that. Just to gives you a quick little view of how your students did. And it shows you the percentage here, and then it shows you how many you got right over how many total. What I really like about it, it gives you the totals at the bottom. My 71%. I got 11. The students got an 11% on this one. 89% of my students got number 2 right, and so forth. That's really neat. If you do a longer test, this little button right here will help extend it so you can kind of see. Now, I'm not super happy with this because I don't remember what question number 1 is. So I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to click on Actions, and I'm going to go Item Performance Report. What that's going to show me is the question, what is contained within a chromosome? And I know that 11% of my students got it correct, so only 1. I see that the 1 person got it, but I also see what other students picked. And all of a sudden, I can use this data to realize either a misconception that the students have or something that they haven't maybe taught yet or whatever you want to use the data for. So you can go back and reteach that. I can see what controls inherited trait, 89%. I'm pretty happy with that number. Only 1 person got that wrong. Maybe that was a misunderstanding or whatever. As you can see here as well, I can do a test with multiple standards. So when state test comes around, I will do probably 3 or 4 standards at a time just to get it mixed up and get the kids kind of accustomed to answering different questions. So it shows me the alignment there as to what the standard belongs to. If, for example, the question is way too long and you can't read it, you can click right here and it should pop up with the answer or what the question is. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go hit the back button. I'm going to hit back to items. I did that incorrectly. Let me go back into that report. I'm going to go test session detailed reporting. I'm going to click on the test. I'm going to go up here to actions. And then I'm going to go to alignment report, item performance report. Okay. This is where when I messed up. So you can click on that and do whatever. You can also see up here that the distractor, which is the distractor would be the answer choices, and it shows your report accordingly. This helps a lot more if you have multiple standards or that you're testing over. I like this as well, the easiest item and the hardest item, or the second easiest. I like the hardest item right here. Okay, that really helps me out to know what my students are struggling on. I can do the alignment report. And what that alignment report is, if I have different standards here, which I don't on this one, it shows me, okay, well, this standard 8.3.2a is a test session average of 71%. Well, this one is 2 and this one is 2. Okay, this is the test session, the school average, and the district average. These don't really matter right now because we're such a small school, but this one here does. So that's the one I mainly look at. And then the score distribution report. What this one does is it shows you where all your students lie across a range. 0 to 59%, one student, 60 to 69, three students, and so forth. It's just kind of nice little chart to visualize. Um, no students got between here, so that's just something that's nice to have. The only thing that I really used is the score report right here. It shows me where the students lie, and then I can go and I can figure out which ones they got incorrect. Okay. I know this movie is, or this screencast is a little bit long. I'll go back through and put in sections to what, if you were setting up a test or setting up, assigning the test or whatever it is, I'll go back through and put time dates, timestamps on them so you know what time to fast forward the movie to, because we don't really like to hear me talk. I stress, if you have any questions at all, feel free to let us know. This DRC edirect or the check for learning stuff, I mean, it can do so much more than what I've just told you. I've told you just enough to basically get started as to how to create your test. Once again, if you've got naming, a better naming system, and whatever you want, feel free to give feedback as well. Also, you can do a multi. If you want to challenge a kid, you can set up a multi um, topic test, meaning you could test language arts as well as science as well as math. So you got that kid that you just can't figure out what to do with him or her. Put together a test and let them have at it. You don't have to assign it to everybody. So if you can see, let me go back to my tests here. If you can see, I did that last year. I had a kid that I couldn't ever figure out what to do with him, so I gave him a bunch of tests and let him go through and do what he had to do. Kept him engaged at least. What else? We are currently trying to figure out how to delete tests that we don't need anymore. Realistically, I don't need any of these tests. So, for the most part, I don't need this anymore. So, Pinky, I know, has been on the hunt trying to figure out how to do that. Hopefully, we get an answer for you. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, I guess if you have any more questions, let us know. And if we have a lot of questions, we'll make another video and go from there. Thank you so much.